Am I the a-hole for walking out on date night after my BF got me a bikini instead of a purse? I, 25 female, and my BF Seth, 28 male, have been together for 2 years. Yesterday we went out for date night, and we decided to go hang out at the mall before going to dinner. While we were there, I came across an adorable purse that I loved. Before I could say anything, Seth looked at the price tag and said, "Whoa. $40? That's way too expensive, so don't get any ideas, haha." I was kind of bummed, but I chuckled and told him I agree, it is too expensive. Shortly after this, I had to rush into the bathroom, and I was in there for about 20 minutes. After I came back, Seth said that he had a surprise to show me at dinner. I was excited, because I figured he must have bought me something, maybe even the purse. After we arrived at the restaurant, Seth grabbed his backpack and told me to close my eyes. After I opened my eyes, Seth was holding up a hot pink bikini from the mall. At first I was confused, then I asked him how much it cost, and he told me $45. I then asked him how could he buy something that costs more than the purse I saw. He said, "I know, but I saw this bikini and I just couldn't say no. It's just so you, babe." I don't know what came over me, but I felt so hurt and insulted in that moment. When it's something I want, it's too expensive, but when it's something he wants, price isn't a problem. I don't even wear bikinis, I've never once worn a bikini, so that made the gift even weirder. I put the bikini back in his backpack, got up, and drove home. He's furious with me, called me a spoiled brat, and said that I was being petty. Am I the a-hole?
NTA. That bikini wasn't a gift for you at all, it was entirely for himself that he expected you to go along with because he called it a gift. He is mad because you didn't give him credit for his thoughtless gift that after 2 years together, he should have known wasn't something you'd like. He's calling you a petty spoiled brat for not appreciating his selfish attempt to make you a model for his gift to himself. Buy yourself the purse and tell him he can wear the bikini. You do realize even a $60 bikini is still from a sweatshop, with cents going into the cost of the item and the company reaping the rest as profits. And even conscious labeled items come from sweatshops. It doesn't matter how expensive or cheap the garment is. Look at the recent Guardian report on it. The only way you can know exploitation was avoided is if the material of the garment and its production was made in a single country of origin, or if you make the garment yourself. Story time. My ex, let's call him Jerkson, low-key hated the way I dressed. One day he got some cash from somewhere, maybe it was during one of his brief periods of employment, maybe his mom gave it to him, Anyhow, he decided to take me shopping. He made a huge spectacle around it, even asking my parents if they were okay with this. Listen, it was not a huge amount of money and it's not like we went to shop at Gucci. We drove to an outlet center, which was totally fine. I'm mentioning it so nobody gets a wrong idea. Jerkson bought me a dress, 2 shirts, a pair of shoes and a lingerie set. I hated everything, except the lingerie, which was the only thing I actually picked myself. I had nothing to say about the clothes, maybe except do you want this ugly-ass thing in brown or blue? Afterwards, he paraded me around in the clothes that he bought like my makeover was his greatest achievement. It was a tad humiliating, especially that he really rubbed in my face, saying stuff like good thing I treated you and took you shopping, you finally look like a human being. 10/10 would not recommend that controlling freak. I love how the writer of this piece couldn't find a handsome enough Norwegian celebrity so they just used a Swede instead. Close enough I guess. Oh, and if you're reading this, you're NTA. I was with a guy like that for years, and it really messes with your mind when they're doing something selfish but presented as a gift to you. I would suggest you go through other aspects of your relationship and see if this happens a lot. The things he does for you, are they things he would want for himself anyway? What happens if you make a suggestion, for example traveling, hobby, food, that he's not a fan of? Does he ever indulge you just for you? Not all the time of course, but ever? One of my epiphanies came from realizing my ex was only kind to me when it was convenient for him. NTA. Are you spoiled when you don't get what you want but instead something actually useless and unusable? Not talking about people wanting a car and then getting one they don't like cause it's the wrong color here people. Lol, it's so you babe. When you've never worn a bikini, yeah no actually it's not, maybe in his fantasy it is, but you're a person not his doll to dress. Drop him, he doesn't know you, he doesn't respect you, he doesn't care about your wants, he's selfish and bit manipulative. Plus the present he got you was more for his own viewing pleasure than anything. Op says in the post that after she showed interest in the purse that the BF immediately pointed out the price shamed her for even considering buying something so expensive. I mean, he straight up told her not to buy it. She might have felt a bit uncomfortable buying it after that. Also, Ops says the purse was expensive. She clearly wanted it, but when you're on a budget you can't buy everything just because you want it. Either way, Ops' reasons for choosing not to buy it in the moment are totally irrelevant to whether she's the a-hole. AITA. Everyone else seems to think he bought the bikini as a present for him. However, he pulled it out of his bag at dinner in a restaurant. If he really wanted something for him, he could have easily found something else like lacy knickers. Even then I would think it would be a both of us present. He mentioned he saw it and thought of you. If it's a sexy bikini, it shows he thinks of you as sexy. Also, it's possible the link between getting you that bikini and the discussion about the handbag was not there for him, the two being completely unrelated in his mind. Reason why I think AITA specifically, you don't get to choose spontaneous gifts. Even if it's something you don't want, you say thank you and accept. My husband bought me orange flowers once, granted he is colorblind. I'm not a massive fan of orange or the type of flowers he got, but I still said thank you, took pics and posted on Instagram how sweet he was. If I were you, I'd have accepted the gift graciously and bought myself the bag. AITA. Everyone is saying something about this guy buying the bikini for his GF for his pleasure and his dick. Maybe he just wants you to feel sexy and attractive when you go the beach/swim? Women buy clothing all the time to feel pretty. My wife wants to look good for herself and for me as well. This was a date night. Not a special occasion. He can get you whatever he wants, it's his gift to you. If you didn't like the particular bikini, communicate that and get something else as an exchange. Jesus Christ. NTA, I'm gonna say this for all the people calling you entitled because you weren't expecting a gift. This is gaslighting. This isn't just him saying no to you and surprising you with something else. You were at the mall, you found a purse you liked, he knew you were looking at it because he checked the price tag, then he immediately, from your POV, told you it was expensive and not to get your hopes up. It may be a small thing, but he shut down your emotions and told you to not want something you want. That is manipulating you and your emotions to shut them down. The proper response here is that is a super cute purse, maybe next time. Or we can keep an eye out for it and see if we can get it later. You like something, he saw you liked it, and his first thought was to invalidate your desires and feelings. Then, after that, he buys you something more expensive because he thought it was so you. Regardless of it being a bikini, and he should know if you are a bikini girl or not by this point, this was him manipulating you by saying what he wanted for you is more important than what you want for you. Maybe he did genuinely think it was a good idea, maybe he was thinking with his other head, but either way this was an emotional manipulation of you. Then he tries to again guilt trip you by telling you that you were spoiled and being petty. You found something you liked and before you could even say something about it, he took it upon himself to shut down your desires and feelings. Then turned around and spent more money on something he wants for you. This is a display of him putting his desires before yours and being okay with gaslighting you. NTA. My ex-boyfriend worked at a shoe store. Our anniversary was coming, so he gave me a catalog and told me to choose something, and I picked some cute combat boots. So you can imagine my disbelief when he arrived with a pair of pastel pink Vans. Quite the complete opposite from what I wanted. I asked him why, and he said well because I would like to see you with this style more often. He wanted to see me dressed in pastels when most of the time I'm in all black. Needless to say we broke up a few months after that lol. It feels horrible when the person that's supposed to know you better than anyone gives you something so far off from what you actually like, especially after you just told them what you want. What a way to disregard your feelings. Your BF is an odd just like my ex and I'm sorry he did this to you. NTA. First of all, $40 is not expensive for a purse. That is a very inexpensive purse. Expensive/inexpensive are relative terms. For example, $40 is expensive for a cheeseburger but not a lobster dinner. Target sells purses for $40, so no, it is not particularly expensive. Now it would be one thing if Seth just doesn't have disposable income and so he cannot afford to buy you gifts. But that is not the case. Clearly Seth could have afforded a $40 purse because he purchased a $45 bikini. I think you were right to be offended. It seemed kind of like the bikini was for him since it is something that you don't even like to wear and that costs more than the thing you wanted. That was strange. You could try to explain to him why you were hurt by the gift, but it sounds like you may be better off without him. When you got mad, he didn't apologize, he doubled down and called you a name. That is a red flag in my opinion.